name's Chaviva, and I moved to Denver about 2.5 months ago. And I'm a 2-time convert to Judaism. Reform in 2006 and Orthodox January 1st, 2010. And I was born on Simchat Torah, so it was like meant to be, it was shared. So converts, I sort of crowdsourced this slide presentation. I run a Facebook group. And I asked them what the most important things were for people, born Jews and other people to know. And the biggest one, don't ask. For a lot of people, it's a lot like don't ask, don't tell. Someone once compared it to walking up to someone and asking them if they have a nose job, except that nose job is your soul. So the other thing, don't tell. One of the biggest violations of privacy is like when you go somewhere and someone's like, oh my God, I heard you're a convert, that's so cool. And you're like, oh my God, who told you? It's kind of, it's like a coming out party that you weren't invited to. And my biggest story was I went to a Shabbos dinner and I went to shul the next day, and everyone was like, oh my God, it's so great to meet a convert, this is really great. You're awesome, tell me your story. So if you want to hear our stories, most of us are willing to tell you. Some people have had really tragic experiences. I'm not one of them. I'm a blogger. I'm the kvetching editor, so I blog about conversion a lot. So if you want to ask our stories, go ahead. However, if you do that, make sure you're not in a place like, oh, I don't know, kiddish, and there's 5 million people running around, and you're balancing 2 babies on your side, and they're screaming, and you're interrupting every 5 seconds, and we can't really get our story out. It's like we're telling a really emotional piece of ourselves. After we tell you our stories, remember, we're not your therapists. People always want to unload about like their sister-in-law's third cousin who was thinking about converting to Judaism, and then this really horrible thing happened and she didn't, or you want to tell us about how, oh, maybe you're dating a non-Jew. Just remember, we're not your therapists. We also aren't zoo animals. Sometimes when I go to synagogue, I feel like people are watching me as I'm davening to see how many shekels per minute I do. We're not zoo animals. We don't like to be analyzed. I painted this plate. Isn't that cool? A lot of us love Jewish food. Unlike Jews, we love Jewish food. Converts do. Cholents, gefilte fish, everything but the herring. Can't do herring. When I saw herring here, I almost vomited. We come in all colors, just like born Jews. There are, Juminicans, there are Jewtinos, there are African American Jews, just like there are born Jews. You've got Ethiopians, you've got just about every kind of color you can come up with. And we don't care how Jewish we look. I pass really well, is what people tell me. With my alabaster skin and my dark hair, I just look Jewish. Which is great, but most of us don't care, and we don't all really want to look like Woody Allen either. So, just remember, like, if you see someone and they're Jewish and you find out they're a convert, you're like, no way! I totally thought you looked like an Israeli. You looked so Jewish. We also weren't all Christians. Shocking, I know, because everyone who's not Jewish must be a Christian. I know plenty of Buddhists who convert to Judaism, a lot of atheists and agnostics who convert to Judaism, and there are also a lot of converts who come through the reverse process. They end up at Messianism, and then they end up converting to Judaism. Very weird. Not all of us convert for marriage. This is the biggest one. So the interesting story is that my now ex-husband, when I was going through the Orthodox conversion process, we'd go to synagogue. People would walk up to our friends and say, so when is he converting? They thought I was the born Jew and he was the convert, which I thought was hilarious. Ivanka Trump, probably the most famous convert, she did convert for marriage, but I have it on good word that she was incredibly sincere. This is the heavy part. Kermit the Frog said it's not easy being green, but Kermit the Frog never had to convert to Judaism. Some people can drop as much as $5,000 in the state of California. Here in Colorado, it costs about $3,000 to convert to Judaism. It's incredibly expensive, and it is not that easy. If it were this easy, this room would be full of like all sorts of crazy ethnic diversity and like madness and lots more single people than there are right now. So it's a really hard trek. Our paths are just as unpredictable as yours. A lot of people think when you convert, so I converted Orthodox. I probably looked like a nice, froom Jewish girl. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to be staying on this, Orthodox path forever, because just as many of you, you're all about the Rebbe one day, and you're all about like Woody Allen the next day, so do converts. And this is sort of the sad emotional one. Don't forget the convert. The Talmud bases blame on, if a convert leaves the community, the blame goes on born Jews for not accepting and keeping in their minds converts. And The biggest one, we are Jews, just like you. And when I Googled we are Jews, this is what came up. So that's what you have. It's the Brick Testament, bricktestament.com if you've never seen it. It's hilarious. All right, thank you guys.